I'm Danna Wilberg from the Paranormal Connection.
And I'm Linda Cotter from Paranormal Insights.
And today we are interviewing Kerry Cassidy, who is with the Camelot Project. Kerry, it's so nice to meet you and to be at the UFO Paranormal Summit.
Yes, thank you very much.
There's been a lot of information. Now, can you tell us in a few minutes, tell the viewers about the Camelot Project and what we can do to help?
Okay, well, you can become enlightened, basically. But no, we're a website for whistleblowers from above top secret black projects. We interview scientists and engineers, and with clearances way above top secret, and in some cases, people that have clearances above the president. And we basically try to get the truth out about the Matrix and what's really going on. We're all about breaking open conspiracies all across the globe on many, many different levels. And we also interview researchers, experiencers, contactees. But basically our objective is to paint what we call the big picture. So we're not just drilling down and doing repetitive interviews with the same kind of people over and over again. We're actually looking for different pieces of the puzzle every time we do an interview.
What I like about Kerry's show is that in delving into UFOs, it was the first time I came across Project Camelot. What I love about her show is that every person she interviews has a take, their own personal take, and she's very interested in getting the individual point of view. And people corroborate each other or validate each other unbeknownst to them. It's a fantastic source for finding the truth out about a situation, and you can put the puzzle together yourself, but she's created the platform for all the whistleblowers, very brilliant people who don't have a place to talk about what they've experienced, so that all of us can come across it and have a place to listen and hear and understand and gain knowledge.
Right, and it's important to understand that the whistleblowers come from all aspects of society, and that they're often giving testimony against great odds. They are also often risking their lives to do so. Sometimes they're breaking a security oath. Sometimes they're putting their families and their friends in danger. And so it's actually I guess you might say it's a mission. It's a true mission for us. But it is also something that is fraught with danger and excitement in a certain sense. That's the state of affairs on planet Earth at this time, that we're living in a time when there's a great deal of deception. The media is often the last one to tell you the truth about anything. So what we don't do is sound bites. What we do is put a video camera in front of somebody and basically get their testimony. I don't edit out anything they say. The only times I do an edit of any kind is, basically if there's a sound problem or something specific, or if the person is, doesn't want to, they use a name and the name shouldn't be out there so they don't get sued or whatever. But basically, what you see is what you get. It's often a 2-hour interview, sometimes even longer. And I ask hard questions. I'm not your usual interviewer. I'm nice, but I'm not. I'm all about getting to the truth. That's really, I want the people out there to understand what is true about humanity and life and the drama going on this planet at this time.
Now, since you've been doing your interviews and your research, what kind of change have you seen? Eddie?
Well, it's huge. We've been in operation for over 6 years, and we have been getting letters since the beginning from people out there where we became sort of a grassroots organization, almost a movement. And I know it sounds crazy, but we've actually galvanized people to go out and do what we do. And in fact, what you're doing is kind of like that. And people write to us every day and tell us that we've changed their lives. That they're, even young people. I mean, it's just wonderful to get a letter from, some very young person who is being sort of told by parents and teachers to believe this, that, and the other, and they come to Camelot and they finally find what they're really looking for. They finally feel at home, like someone understands them, and it's very exciting to be able to be part of that process.
When it's all said and done at the end of a long day, or a long month, or a long project, and you rest alone with yourself, what are the thoughts, what is it that comes through your mind as far as what you hope your work brings to people? Where does your mind go in your quiet hours with the work you do?
Well, I mean, I really want people to wake up around the planet. That's what our mission is, to wake people up. We want them to start going out there looking for the truth and demanding the truth. We want to give them tools by which to start analyzing the matrix around them, to start investigating. We want to be a starting point. We're not where they finish. Not trying to tell them what to think, but I am trying to give them the basic building blocks of what we think is going on. So I'm not just taking anybody's testimony. I'm actually selecting a witness to come forward who I believe has a lot of pieces of the truth. That doesn't mean everything they say is true. It doesn't mean you have to buy into all of it. I don't buy into all of it. When I interview somebody, I don't know everything I'm going to get. But what I will do is I will ask the questions to bring out the best, what I consider to be the best, the nugget, the essence of truth with the person. And then you, the watcher, the listener, you take it on board and you decide what's right, what's wrong, what works for you. And in the end of the day, what I'm hoping is to, first of all, in waking up the globe and the consciousness on planet Earth, is to change the Earth. Mm-hmm. Just awakening, that act, believe it or not, changes the energetics of the planet and raises the consciousness of Earth. And you can even feel it. You can feel it in these conferences when we get together and we're all in one room and we're all excited about something that's coming forward that's for the first time a truth. And it resonates with us. You know, you get chills. That's one of the signs you're hearing the truth. You get it in your heart. I'm hitting the mic here. I'm passionate about my subject. What can I tell you? Yeah, it really resonates. You know when you got the truth. And human beings do have a natural ability to discern truth from fiction. We really do.
Absolutely.
And I think it's us turning on our emotional brain, or using the intellect and the emotion in a balanced way that's going to bring that to each of us, is it not?
Sure, absolutely. It's a combination of the heart and the mind. And, you know, it's an opening of your chakras. It's a connecting to the larger, to source, to whatever you want to call it, Godhead. You are a true essence of source as well. There's a spark in each and every one of us, and it's just bringing that spark alive, and it's making that connection back to source. And that's what we're all about in the end, is literally waking up the planet. So.
Great stuff. Okay, so we're talking to Michelle Menny, who's done the Planetary Meditation Music Series. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your project here, your book?
Well, I'm Michelle Menny. I come from the Vail Valley of Colorado, and this book set that I've done is actually 3 CDs that are in the back of the book that are guided imagery meditations. So while you're listening to the stories on CD, underneath are beautiful music that's Grammy Award winning musicianship. The man that did the music was Bob Dylan's drummer, Linda Ronstadt's sound engineer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's really fabulous. Joe Ramersa from Shadowbox Studio in Los Angeles. So I got real high caliber musicianship and fantastic music quality. The production's amazing. Inside of the music are all these planetary tunings. So for instance, this is Neptune. And when you hear the sound of Neptune, the frequency will heal you. This one heals imbalances in the waters in our body. So it'll release any kind of bloat issues. It brings up psychic vision and allows you to talk to your guides clearer if you are interested in doing that. This is the fork that will do that. Along with Mercury, this is Mercury. These two release ADHD, ADD, dyslexia, link up the right and left hemispheres of the brain, like those brain sync, hemisync tapes.
Yes.
Right here, all you have to do is push play on Mercury or on Neptune, and it's in the in the music.
How did you get into this? What inspired you to put this kind of program together?
Well, being a holistic healer from the Vail Valley of Colorado, I was doing a lot of private session work with the folks that live there, and I discovered that the best way to get the biggest change was to work with harmonics. After working in so many different modalities as a healer, I discovered acutonics and went to the Cairo Sound Institute, and while I was there, in level 3, they brought in big pasty gongs, and these gongs were calibrated to these planetary notes. So these are not actual musical notes. They're musical notes, sharp, maybe minor, slightly diminished, falling off the note. They're true planet notes. So when they played these big gongs, they had us on the floor on our yoga mats. I started having Native American vision one after another, because I'm Chippewa from Turtle Mountain Clan, and I kept seeing these beautiful things and getting up and writing them down. And apparently I was, doing this because what I brought in was stuff I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So, for instance, Neptune, I got up and was writing, swimming with dolphins and mermaids, and every time a fairy landed on the surface of the water, a flower would bloom underneath her. And the imagery came to me so beautifully, and there were aquamarine mountains that were spitting pink snow. And the teacher got up and she said, okay, I'd like to teach you some planetary facts now. Her name was Judy Bernard. And I said, okay, Judy, tell us about Neptune. And she said, well, here's something really interesting. It's mostly water ice. There's very little terra firma. However, there are volcanoes there that, because it's a frozen world, emit a frozen pink snow. And I said, oh my gosh, I just had that vision. And she said, well, I want to know what you're going to do next. And this is what I did next, and she's quite proud of me at being my teacher and one of my teachers.
So do you have a website where people can contact you?
I do, holisticmountain.com. You can find me there, and you can get on my email list and get star lessons and Native American legends and learn more about the ancient temples. And that's what I was teaching on here at the SAC UFO Con, was all about these old ancient temples and how they were all aligned to the stars, and they were all acoustic in nature. Every single one of them was harmonic. And they brought in the frequencies of the stars into whoever was praying in the temple during that alignment. For instance, we just had a huge alignment of a solar eclipse, and at the time of that solar eclipse on May 20th, we had the black hole at the center of our galaxy in alignment with the Pleiades, the sun, the earth, and the moon and the earth, all in one big line at this time of solar eclipse. And in Chichen Itza, at El Castillo, what the Spaniards called El Castillo because it looked like a castle to them, it's a step pyramid. And what happened on that day was that pyramid was activated. They had, the Mayans had predicted this a long, long time ago and wrote it into their calendar that on May 20th, 2012, and at no other time in this 5,000-year cycle was this alignment going to happen. And when that alignment happened, it would bring in all that star energy from the Pleiades, the sun and the moon, and our point of origin where we came from, the black hole that creates and destroys this Milky Way that we live in. So the ancients knew.
Now, we've heard, the alignments referred to as the harmonic convergence and so on and so forth. So you're taking this literally. This is actually sound that's coming from these planets being emitted to produce this particular whatever's about to transpire, whether it be healing or for
That's
the planet.
Absolutely right.
That's
Everything that
amazing.
we need to heal exists in our own solar system because this is our block. The Milky Way is created from that black hole. So everything in that galaxy, our galaxy, comes out of the black hole. Every time a supernova happens and a star explodes, it casts off its outer layers and it sends out into our area code all of the things that make up who we are. So all of our elements that make up our being are star elements. So everything that's on our block, which is our solar system, are all the elements that we need to heal.
Very nice. Now, people are talking about sounds that they're hearing. Do you have any insight to that? Towns are hearing these strange sounds that actually are keeping them either awake at night or just, you know, being kind of disturbing.
Well, I've done a lot of work in Taos, and there's a lot of buzz about the Taos hum down there. And I think possibly there was some underground boring going on in those areas under the mountain, because many of our mountains have tunnels underneath them. For instance, I live in Colorado, and Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado Springs is a military base, and there is a military base inside underneath that mountain. And I've seen some peculiar things there. And there are many other places that are like that. And if you interview Norio Hayakawa, who is here this weekend, he'll give you the insight on all of that. Now, I also think that there is a negative frequency being put out. And I don't know where it's coming from or who is putting it out, but I know that we have the capability to do it in military equipment like the HARP.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And the ionosonde antenna. And, you know, the fact that you can go into a theater and see paranormal activity and they tell you we're going to pump fear through the speakers, and you're sitting there grinding and sweating, and it's because they've pumped the frequency of fear into the theater. And that's this frequency, which is the current, unfortunately, frequency of the Earth. This is the Schumann resonance. This is the 528 hertz. That the disinformation is that this is what heals us. This is what grounds us. And what this does, isn't that lovely? Yes. Very chaotic, very dissonant, and it locks us into the fear frequency. It locks us into mind control. So inside of the planetary meditations, when you hear the Earth meditation, you hear a whole lot of Venus with it. And here's Venus. Remember, she's the goddess of love. And how sweet and beautiful is that? And I can't make this thing sound anything but sweet.
Interesting.
Because it's the tone of love. So what's happening with 2012, June 5th, we just had the transit of Venus, and we had the sun amping this little girl and pushing all of her love beam frequency right into the Earth, right at the time of evolution of the 2012 gateway. Do this, and that's where we are right now, as of June 5th. Now here's something that no one's teaching, that I'm teaching because we need to know this. Everyone's talking about December 21st. This is the end of the Mayan calendar. It's the end of the world. It's the end of the fourth world. We've already done it 3 times and we're still here. This is the end of the fourth one. Now here's what they're not saying. July 26th, 2013 is the first day of the 5th world cycle.
Interesting.
So it's the first day of the new world cycle, what the Mayans called day out of time. Because the Mayans could step outside of time. That's how clever those fellows were.
Absolutely.
And they had this star chart that they called the harmonic module, and it was their Hunab Ku. And the Hunab Ku gave a tone, 13 sacred tones, one for each day, that came from the 13 star chiefs, who were the 13 jaguar priests of the Chilam Balam. And they were star chiefs. They came from the stars. They encoded their knowledge into the 13 skulls.
Oh, there we go. This is a whole. There's so much
Whole edge
information.
that no one's brought in yet.
The Paranormal Connection airs the first and third Thursdays of the month at 9:30 p.m. following Ancient Wisdom on Comcast Channel 17 in Sacramento County. Our companion show, Paranormal Insights, airs on the second and fourth Thursday of the month. You can also watch us online. Go to accesssacramento.org and click on Watch 17. Encores of each show air Friday at 1:30 p.m. and Saturday at 5:30 a.m. Contact me at paranormalconnectiontv@gmail.com and check for upcoming information on all of our guests at paranormalconnectiontv.blogspot.com. Join us on Facebook. Just search for Paranormal Connection. Become a friend, become a fan. All right, we're here with Nolan Jorgenson. He's a local boy from Citrus Heights.
I was born and raised in Citrus Heights. I now live in Carmichael.
Okay. Now you've had an experience. You did a video and put it on YouTube and it went viral. Why don't you tell us about the video?
I did a video about last year, a little after July, and I saw something floating in the sky, and I videotaped it for about 15 minutes, and I posted it to YouTube, and a friend I had on Facebook saw it, who's actually a news guy, and then he posted it to the web and then put it on an actual media site, and then it went viral, and it went from, in the first 48 hours, from 10 views to 10,000 views, and then it went over the next 2 weeks up to 200,000 views, and it's slowly died now a year later to it's darn near 400,000 views. And I called it a mass sighting, and I'm not sure exactly what I filmed, because the same day, and I did some research and I called the park where they were holding an event that day, that they released balloons. But what I filmed, and they released the balloons around 4 o'clock, and I filmed this around 7 o'clock at night, and these things were still up there, and they were rearranging and moving and reforming and going all sorts of different directions, but at the same level. And there was a wind between 20 and 30 miles per hour that day. And I have airplanes flying underneath it and a helicopter flying underneath these things on the video.
Wow.
And I filmed it as long as I could, and I only got to watch it with my eyes for about 10 minutes, about 8 to 10 minutes before I got my camera, and then I filmed it for 14.
My goodness. So if it was balloons, they'd be tiny. If
They would be really small, and I had it was 10 times optical and 80 times digital, and I zoomed in as far as I could. Now, for a split second, when I first started filming, it showed something dangling down off a couple of them, but not all of them had things dangling off them. A lot of them were just plain white, shiny, not metallic, but like white lights. And they were moving and clustering and making formations. And I just let it roll. And I talked through the entire video, so a lot of people thought I was honest, so I got a lot of praises and a lot of negative. But I left it out there because I had questions. Even though I called and I made sure with the balloon thing and the release that day at the park, but the time frames didn't fly. So I don't claim to know what I filmed, but it's either balloons or UFOs.
Wow. Now, were you interested in UFOs before you did the filming?
Yes, I have been for many years.
Okay.
And I've had some personal stories and experiences which turned me back on to this whole process. And over the past 3 years, I've seen hundreds of UFOs, and I've filmed probably about 50 really good videos of different things, and I have about 9 videos of actual objects dropping down, shining very bright, and then dematerializing into absolutely nothing and being gone.
Cool. So if someone wanted to go to on YouTube to look for this video, what's it called?
You could type in Carmichael mass sighting and you'd easily find it. You could Google it, but it's on YouTube. And my username on YouTube is N Jorgenson 1154.
Okay.
And I have all my videos posted on there.
Cool. Well, Linda, we certainly had a wonderful weekend talking to all these people, enjoying their lectures, and any parting words?
Well, I suppose my parting words would be not to be afraid to research a little bit. You've heard an awful lot of information with this show, and don't be afraid of looking into it. Sometimes it's better to Judge for yourself. The internet is so full of information. Project Camelot is an excellent resource to just type in Project Camelot UFOs, Project Camelot aliens, and take a look at the people that are presenting the information and see for yourself if it resonates here with you. And as we always say, if it feels right, hang on to it. And if it doesn't, kick it out. It's not for you. But you might just find that where there's smoke, there's fire with this stuff, and it may open a window of possibility thinking for you that could change your life in a very good way.
Well, in closing, I just want to thank my fabulous crew for coming out and volunteering, because without them, Greg and Lisa and Marge and Tony and everybody else who comes out to volunteer, we wouldn't have this show, and their dedication has really surmounted into the information that we're allowed to bring you. So thank you guys. And also, if you can get your hands on a pair of Ed Grimsley's night goggles, do so, because there's so much up there to look at. It's incredible. That was so much fun. So with that, we're going to say goodnight, and thanks for watching The Paranormal Connection.
Thank you.